Imagine a battle fought more than 3,400 years ago that is still studied in military academies today. A battle where one daring decision changed the course of history. A battle so well documented that historians consider it the earliest military campaign ever recorded in detail. This is the story of the Battle of Megiddo, where Pharaoh Thutmose III transformed Egypt into the greatest superpower of the ancient Near East. Around 1457 BC, ancient Egypt stood among the world's most powerful civilizations. After the reign of the famous Queen Hatshepsut, Pharaoh Thutmose III assumed full control of the Egyptian throne. Unlike many rulers before him, he was not only a king, but also an exceptional military commander. However, Egypt's control over Canaan was beginning to weaken. Seeing an opportunity, several Canaanite rulers joined forces under the leadership of the king of Kadesh. Their objective was to end Egyptian influence and seize control of the lucrative trade routes connecting Egypt, Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and the Mediterranean. If Egypt lost these territories, it would lose wealth, prestige, and strategic security. Thutmose III decided to crush the rebellion before it spread further. The Egyptian army marched nearly 250 kilometers from the border fortress of Chariots across the Sinai Desert into Canaan. Their destination was Megiddo, one of the strongest fortified cities of the ancient world. Before reaching the city, the Egyptians encountered three possible routes. Two were broad and relatively safe. The third was the narrow Aruna Pass, where soldiers had to march almost single file. The generals strongly advised against taking this dangerous route. An ambush could destroy the entire army. But Thutmose III thought differently. He believed the enemy expected him to choose the safer roads. Instead, he chose the most dangerous path. It became one of the boldest strategic decisions in military history. The gamble worked perfectly. The Canaanite coalition had concentrated much of its army near the wider roads. When the Egyptians suddenly emerged from the Aruna Pass, the enemy was completely surprised. Thutmose III quickly organized his forces into battle formation. Egyptian archers unleashed volleys of arrows, while infantry and fast-moving chariots charged across the battlefield. The coalition army collapsed under the unexpected assault. Many soldiers abandoned their weapons, shields, horses, and chariots as they fled toward Megiddo. According to Egyptian records, some defenders had to be pulled up over the city walls with ropes because there was no time to reopen the gates. The battlefield belonged to Egypt. Yet complete victory did not come immediately. Instead of pursuing the fleeing enemy into the city, many Egyptian soldiers stopped to collect the enormous amount of abandoned treasure. They gathered gold, bronze weapons, armor, horses, and hundreds of enemy chariots. This pause allowed the defenders enough time to secure the gates and reinforce Megiddo's defenses. As a result, Thutmose III had no choice but to begin a formal siege. The siege lasted for several months before starvation and isolation forced the city to surrender. Although delayed, Egypt achieved total victory. The victory at Megiddo restored Egyptian authority throughout Canaan. Local rulers renewed their loyalty to Egypt and agreed to pay tribute in gold, silver, livestock, grain, and valuable goods. The campaign secured vital trade routes that connected Africa with Asia, greatly increasing Egypt's wealth and political influence. Thutmose III later launched at least 16 more military campaigns, expanding Egypt into its greatest territorial empire. Because of his remarkable achievements, historians often call him the Napoleon of ancient Egypt. Even more importantly, the Battle of Megiddo is the earliest battle described in remarkable detail by contemporary sources. The campaign was carved onto the walls of the Temple of Amun at Karnak by royal scribes, providing historians with invaluable information about ancient warfare, logistics, strategy, and leadership. Interestingly, the ancient name Megiddo later inspired the biblical word Armageddon, symbolizing the final great battle between the forces of good and evil. More than 3,000 years have passed since Pharaoh Thutmose III marched through the dangerous Aruna Pass. His courage, strategic brilliance, and decisive victory changed the balance of power in the ancient Near East forever. The Battle of Megiddo was not simply an Egyptian victory. It became the first great military campaign preserved in history, and a timeless lesson that bold leadership, careful planning, and surprise can change the fate of civilizations. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories from the ancient world.